That's good. All right, I'll talk about that some other time. Okay, so good. I'm going to add a few more pieces here about fundamentals. I want to make sure I don't, I want to get into talking a little bit about percolation at least. Right, okay, for sure. So this is Gödel, who was one of our famous people who weren't doing so well. I think he thought everyone was poisoning him, right? Yeah, it wasn't good. He was a bit worried about stuff. So, and it's just sitting around here. It's true, we can't prove every theorem that's true. Right? This is a weird, super weird thing. It took a really weird analysis to get there. But, you know, given a set of axioms, right? This is your rule set. Given a set of axioms, you can have a different one that gets you the same truths and so on. So this is from Gödel, Escher, Bach. This is this idea of things we can prove, right? That we can kind of, and there's no, actually, Andy Regan did some work on this. Like, you know, what's the network of theorems and stuff look like if you have a well-curated kind of field? You know, what's it look like? You build out from your axioms, and then you build all these pieces on top. These are negations of theorems, right? So, or something is, you know, the other way. So going by a falsehood thing, and then there's the stuff we can't prove in the middle. So that's a really weird phenomenon. This is just sort of to add to, you know, what we're talking about with emergence. This is a strong idea of emergence, which is really magic, of course. So I'm not really going to go on about this too much, but sometimes you'll see this framing. Weak emergence, which is something that we have this system level phenomena, this macroscopic behavior that's clearly not, you know, obvious in any of the individual parts, but we can get there theoretically, whether it's simulations perhaps or equations or whatever it is, right? And then there's this kind of notion, and this is coming from more philosophy, right, that there's no way you can actually derive it. But certainly people are worried about this in terms of the brain, right? So it just could be to make a brain that functions like a brain, we have to make a brain. Like we can't really, you know, make a sort of you know, we've certainly created neural networks to do all sorts of things inspired by, but to, you know, replicate one of these things, which runs on 20 watts. Or something, right? It's pretty ridiculous. Like we think Watson's pretty smart, but you know, like it's not much, 20, 30 watts with a few wrinkles. Okay, so magic would explain strong emergence. So it's a little bit of a, we don't need to worry about this too much. Okay, right. Yeah, so maybe of course, you know, when we're imputing magic or some sort of ethereal power to why things are the way they are, then perhaps we just haven't got there. And that should be our experience of where we are now, right? So science has had this tremendous success over the last couple of hundred years. Less threats by people to